Good morning. Happy Tuesday, the last day of March. Coming up on our May elections.
Big things happening.
Oh my gosh. Well, Kelly is my first candidate to come on. He is running for Register of Deeds, Grundy County. We were just talking about the election coming up May 5th.
Right.
And all candidates for each election get their 20 minutes of talking about good things. So Kelly's going to be our first one. I gave everyone a list of questions. Are you ready for it?
I am ready, Miss Iva.
Okay, I'm
Let's
super
go.
excited. All right, here we go. Our first question: personal motivation. Why are you running, and what problem do you most want to solve?
Okay, Iva. So that's a really good question, and I don't want to hijack your question, but I'd like to give a little bit of background, if that's okay, before I get
Absolutely.
into the actual question. So, my name is Kelly Gibbs. I'm running for Register of Deeds, and I'm a lifelong resident of Grundy County. My family arrived in the United States in 1792 in the North Carolina and Virginia. We arrived here in what became Grundy County before Grundy even became a county, Iva. We got here in the 1820s. We've been here ever since. I'm a 1998 graduate at Grundy County High School. I went to Motlow State Community College, got my associates in sociology, which is a degree dealing with people. I went from there and went to MTSU, got my got my bachelor's in political science and government. After I got my bachelor's in political science and government, I started teaching history and government at Grundy County High School. That was in 2006. I've been there ever since. So for the past 20 years, I've taught history and government to a lot of your kids, a lot of you that may be watching. I was your history teacher. But in 2011, I got my master's degree from Austin Peay State University in history. And the same year, I got my EDS, or my education specialist degree in teaching history. Now, the reason I go into all that background, and that's why I said I'm sorry I hijacked your first question, is because the Register of Deeds office deals with our historical documents. It deals with our legal documents. I've been on the campaign trail a lot. I've visited a lot of people, been in a lot of homes. And the number one question I get, Iva, is what exactly does the Register of Deeds office do? Because, let's just be honest about it. There are a lot of people that will never darken the doors of the Register of Deeds office. So, to just give a basic, real quick, just example of what it does, the Register of Deeds office does handle all the county deeds, real estate transactions, things like that. It handles loans, liens. Well, it don't handle loans. It handles liens. It handles mortgages. It even handles like discharge papers from the military. Now, the reason I go into all of that is because your question was, why am I running for the Register of Deeds office? If you look at the Register of Deeds office, it's like a huge historical database. If you go into the registrar's office, you've got the office, then you go into the vault, and when you go into the vault, it's a huge room with all these books lined up and indexed, by year. And what the Register of Deeds office does, and the reason I'm running, is because since it deals with the county's history, it is critical that we make sure that the Register of Deeds office is run correctly. We make sure that it's run in order so that we can go and we can find documents that people need when they go to purchase property. For instance, if you want to go and buy a piece of land, your first stop should be the Register of Deeds office. You should come into that office. You should get us to pull up that deed. We will have anything, any document connected with that deed on it. It'll be in the computers. It'll be in the books, and and you need to look and see, hey, who borders this land? Who owns this land? Are there any liens against this land? When you hire an attorney to do a title search, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to go to that office and they're going to start looking at the history of it. So the reason I'm running for Register of Deeds is because I have an extensive background in history. I know most of the people in the county. I've either taught you or I've taught your kids or something like that. And I want to continue to take that knowledge of our history. I want to take that passion for our history, my passion for Grundy County, and I want to apply it to this office. I want to help people when they come in there and they're wanting to buy property for the first time, or maybe they're wanting to record a deed where they have just bought property. I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that next step in my students' future. I taught a lot of my students history. Now they're getting older, they're getting married, they're buying land. I want to be part of that next step in their life. So that's why I'm running for registrar. And I want to take that background and apply it to that office.
Gosh, I almost get a little weepy there. All right.
Sorry. Like I said, I knew I was hijacking the question, but I think people need to know exactly what the Register of Deeds office does. And it is a historical database of all of our legal documents, especially deeds and the history of how land became whose it was and where it came from, things like that.
I love it. Take control of that question. I absolutely love that. All right. Next one.
Okay.
Key community challenge. What is the biggest issue facing our community?
All right. That's another good question, Ivan. So I'd like to say there's two. The first one that I'd like to address is we have a lot of division in our community. You know, I am a history teacher, so if I refer to this stuff, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm a history teacher. Abraham Lincoln said that a house divided against itself cannot stand. And all you have to do is get on Facebook or Twitter for 2 minutes, and you will see our community, we're divided. We clearly are. I would like to be somebody that helps bring our community back together. I have a long background in community service. I was the mayor of the city of Gertley Logger for 8 years. I was the vice mayor for 8 years before that. I've been a county commissioner for 12 years. And in all those positions, I have had to work with people that maybe disagreed with me or I disagreed with them. But at the end of the day, we all realized that we had certain problems facing our community and that we weren't the enemy. The problem was the enemy. And we could always find common ground, whether that's liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, whatever, it doesn't matter. We all live in the same place. We all experience the same problems, and we all want the same things. We all want a better life for our kids. We all want a better future for our county. So the first problem that I see is division in our community, and I really feel like that I've always been a catalyst for bringing people back together, and I feel like I can do that in this job as well. Second problem I see is, and it's not really a problem, but we have a lot of people moving in here from other places. That's not a problem. I know a lot of people that have moved in. A lot of them are good friends of mine. But as far as it pertains to the Register of Deeds office, we have to make sure that these records are kept accurately. We have to be able to make sure that we can go in there and access these documents. Because if you're buying a piece of property, you want to know that that piece of property is free and clear, that there are no liens against it. There's nobody's filth cousin twice removed that's going to come back in here and try to lay claim to your property after you've bought it. So Gail and the ladies in the Register of Deeds office have done an excellent job when it comes to scanning documents. They've started indexing the documents. By indexing, what that means is they're put in the computer so that you can start with quick scans and find those records quickly rather than going into those stacks and stacks of books that I talked about earlier. So what I'd like to do is continue scanning and indexing the documents. I'd like to continue what they've started so that when you do decide to buy a piece of property, you can go into the Register of Deeds office and we can efficiently and quickly find what you need and make sure that information is accurate. So, thank you.
Oh, very good. All right. Next question. Economic growth. Not that this pertains to the Register of Deeds, but I'm saying it. Okay. All right. How will you boost jobs in our local economy?
And you're right, Iva. It does not directly connect to the Register of Deeds office, but it does indirect. It goes back to what I'm saying. If the real estate market is what we have the largest effect on in the Register of Deeds office, we've got to make sure that our records are accurate. We got to make sure that they're accessible. We don't need somebody coming in to buy a piece of property and it take 30 or 45 minutes for us to be able to come up with the documents that they need. But like I said, I'm giving credit to Miss Gail and the ladies who are in there. They did a really good job of scanning those documents and indexing them. And when I talked to Gail about a week and a half ago, she said that they had indexed the books back to 1960. Now, by what that means is when you scan a document, you're simply putting it in a computer. When you index it, you're putting it in there in such a way that we can type in a name, we can type in an address, whatever, and the computer will pull up all results connected to that name. So they've made it back to 1960, according to what Miss Gale had told me. And so we want to continue what she's doing. We want to continue getting those deeds indexed all the way back to the very beginning of our county, which is 1844, by the way. And so the biggest thing we can do to help promote economic growth is that when people come into that Register of Deeds office, they can come in there, they can tell us what they need, and we can help them find it quickly and efficient. And that will help promote economic growth in our county. So indirectly, that's how it would connect.
Okay. Yeah, people coming in. All right, I get it. Well, you had touched on this already, but number 4 is working together. How do you collaborate with those who disagree with you?
So like I said earlier, I have always, regardless of what position I've been in, I have always been somebody that can bring people to the table. Like I said, regardless of what the issue is, it doesn't matter what the issue is, we all, at the end of the day, have the same goals as people from Grundy County. We are vested in this county. We live in this county. This is where we want to be. So we want to make it the best county we possibly can. And once you can find common ground with people that may disagree with you, it's easy to work out problems. When I was the mayor of the city of Gertley, one of the things that I would do is you're always dealing with things all the time. There's always complaints. There's always issues when you're the mayor. I mean, I always like to tell people that as mayor, you're the chief customer service representative of your city, because really your job is to field these problems and try to find solutions. So when I would have people come to me as the mayor of Gertley, the first thing I would say is, do you have a problem or do you have a complaint? And then they would always be like, well, what's the difference? Well, here's the difference. Complaints are just complaints. Complaints are gripes. Complaints are things that you find wrong with things. Problems have solutions. So if you come to me with a problem, if you truly have a problem, then there are solutions that can be found for that problem. So the first thing we have to find out is, do we have a problem or do we have a complaint? And so in answering your question, we identify the problem. And then we work together because we all have common ground. We all have common things that we want to see in our community. And so that's how I've always been able to bring people together. Let's forget about who's on this side or who's on that side. Let's find the problem, and then we'll work together to get a solution that we can all agree with. That benefits everybody, not just me or you.
Amen.
Yeah.
I like that one. Local issues. Once again, this really has nothing to do with Register of Deeds, but I'm going to say it anyway, because you pivot very well.
Oh, thank you.
What is your plan for an important issue in our area?
So like I said earlier, if you were asking me if I were running for commission or I were running for mayor, this answer would be different. But as far as it pertains to the Register of Deeds office, the biggest thing that we need to make sure that we take care of is, number one, all the property sales that are going on. I talked to Daniel a while back. There's been millions and millions of dollars being brought in through property sales in this county. There's people moving in here because, for a long time we've had this mountain all to ourselves. It's been our little secret. We've had this wonderful place to live, and now, because of the internet, people are finding it. So the biggest thing is, when people move in here and they want to buy property, or somebody already living here wants to sell their property, the biggest thing we can do is make sure that that is as painless and as efficient as humanly possible. Another issue that's big right now that people don't realize is all the problems with cybersecurity and people trying to just take property, people trying to take things that aren't theirs. I got a notification from the registrar's office a while back that said, be on the lookout for this scam. People are trying to scam our people into giving up their property. So as Register of Deeds, I would make sure that I work with cybersecurity companies. We did it in the city of Gertley. We do it through Grundy County. We would do our best to try to make sure that our property and people's property are protected. We would do everything we can to work with the state agencies, federal agencies. We would try to stay on top of any scams that are coming up, and Miss Gale does good with that. She does a good job of alerting people with scams, and so we'd continue to try to do that. Another thing that I thought about that I would like to do, and it's not done right now, but it's something that I thought would be good, is we are in such a tight-knit community. So we are so close. Everybody kind of knows everybody. if somebody comes in with a piece of property they want to register, and let's say that you are the one that had sold it, what would be wrong with me calling you up and saying, "Hey, Iva, just so you know, this
Mm-hmm.
land company has a deed here that says they bought your property. Did you really sell the property?"
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that, especially in a community where we know everybody. It's an advantage we have here, and I don't think that's currently being done. It may be, but I don't think it is. But that's something that I would like to incorporate to try to decrease fraud and people, stealing land, things like.
That's interesting because our banks let us know,
Yes.
our cards let us know. Uh,
And real quick, and before it can even be registered in the Register of Deeds office, a determination has to be made. Is this in fact a legal document that meets the qualifications to be registered? And that takes care of a lot of fraud and things like that. But still, if it's a company we don't know, if it's somebody that's never walked into the office before, no reason we can't call you up and say, "Hey, Iva, did you sell your land on Forest Point Road?" Just double checking. And
hmm,
so that may give the property owners a little bit of peace of mind there.
that is the joy of being in a small community.
It is.
Um, oh, that's so nice. All right. Ooh, core values. What guiding principle shaped your decision?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that, Iva. So I'm going to say this, and I say it with all sincerity. When I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, it's the greatest decision I've ever made. It was a life changing event. I was a totally different person before that. And I have to say that that has by far been the greatest decision I ever made. I try to start my day off by praying and thanking the Lord for the things He's done for me, for the things He's provided for me. I try to start my day off by reading my Bible. Now, I told the church this the other day. I teach Sunday school every now and then, and I told the church the other day, you can start your day off by opening up Facebook and seeing everybody else's drama and everybody else's problems, or you can start your day off by reading a chapter or two out of the Bible and meditate on that and let your mind get started there. So I am a born again Christian. I am very solid in my faith. I think that Jesus Christ is the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and that is what leads my decisions. I try to think, what should I do in this situation based on what the Lord, and that's my guiding.
Add me at hello. All right. All right. Final pitch. Why should voters choose you?
All right. So, like I said earlier, it seems like everything that's happened to me through my life has led me to this very moment here. Whether it be the colleges I attended, whether it be the degrees in history that I've obtained, whether it be the 20 years of teaching experience that I have in the Grundy County school system, whether it be my time as mayor, vice mayor, county commissioner, all these things have led me to this moment in my life. And I didn't realize it till a few years ago, but I started looking at my background and I said, the background that I have would be an awesome background to take into the Register of Deeds office. Since, like I said earlier, it is a gigantic historical database, everything I've done the last 20 years deals with either recording, retrieving, preserving, or analyzing historical documents. A lot of times I've had to interpret those historical documents. That's what I do every day. I take historical documents and I interpret them to teenagers. Or I also teach for Chat State, so I interpret documents to college level kids. In the Register of Deeds office, I can take those skills that I've honed over the past 20 years and I can explain to you as a citizen when you come into the office, hey, this is what this document means. This is what this word means. Or maybe we should take a closer look at this deed because there's an easement on it that maybe you didn't realize was on there. Or there could be a lien. I feel like with my background, with my time as an administrator in the city of Greeley, with my time on the county commission, with budget and finance, or whatever other committee I've been on for 12 years, I've been on just about all of them. I feel like all of those things in my background have led me to where I am today. And I feel like that there's no other candidate. And these ladies that are running against me are good people. I'm not saying they're not. They're all good people. I know them all. But no other candidate brings the background. No other candidate brings the education. no other candidate brings the experience that I have to this office because it is a very important office, and I know that the main purpose of this office is to record deeds and legal documents, but there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. There's the administration of the office. There's being able to look these things up. There's the research aspect. And I feel like that I have the best background, and I feel like I have the most extensive experience when it comes to the things that go into making that office run efficient. So that's my final pitch, Ida. And I would appreciate your vote in August.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Oh, but let's not forget.
Well, and in May, the primaries come up in May, but they're very important. We were talking about this. There's not going to be any early voting in May, since all the candidates on the Democratic and Republican primary tickets are running unopposed. There's not going to be any early voting. So we still need you to come out in May and vote in those primaries. That's very important. But then the big election happens in August. So
Yes, sir.
thank you.
All right, and how can they find out more or get in touch with you?
Oh, well, so I have a Facebook page, elect Kelly Gibbs for Grundy County Register of Deeds. I have a personal Facebook page. I'm more than happy to share my telephone information. Work at Grundy County High School every day. And listen, there's not a single person in District 2, which is Palmer, Grootley, and Comont, that does not know me or don't know how to find me. So I'm very easily found if you're looking for me.
All right, wonderful. Well, Mr. Kelly, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me, Ida.
Thanks for being my first candidate to
right.
come on in, and we certainly do appreciate you running for office, stepping up to the plate, and making things happen.
It is an honor. Thank you very much.
All right, well, we're going to head off, thank our sponsors because we love them, and we'll be right back. As always, thanks for watching Morning on the Mountain. I'll see you in a minute.